Kevin Dubb with Tantrum House, and I'm here with Brandon from Brain Games, and we're looking at Ice Cool Pyramid of Pengqueen.
That's right.
All right, so we're going to put this over here, and we're going to take a little close-up shot of the board. So tell us what we got here.
So this is Pyramid of Pengqueen. It's an asymmetric game where up to 4 players play as treasure hunters. You can see them down here. And then 1 player plays as the mummy. Now, the mummy is on one side of the board.
What?
The treasure hunters are on the other. The mummy does not know where the treasure hunters are. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but the treasure hunters can actually track the movement of the mummy. So, our goal here as a treasure hunter is to collect all 5 of our treasures moving around the map. If we get to a treasure like this, we will reveal it to the mummy. We'll tell the mummy, hey, I'm on top of this golden urn. Now the mummy player knows where you are. On their turn, if they can get to you, they will click you like this. Okay. You have been captured. You lose 1 life, and you're sent to the mummy's tomb. Okay. If the mummy collects enough of these lives, they win the game. And if a treasure hunter loses enough of them, they're out of the game. Okay. And that's basically the gist of it. The way it works is on your turn, you're going to roll dice. And depending on if you're playing as the mummy or playing as the treasure hunters, they're going to be different dice. Sure. The treasure hunters all share a pool of communal dice here. On the first player's turn, they're going to roll them and then choose one of these numbers to move. So if I to choose a 4, I can move 4. However, if I get a mummy symbol here, that die is locked for the rest of the game, or temporarily locked for the rest of the game. Okay. It's sent over to the mummy die. This is going to help the mummy move around on their turn. On the mummy's turn, they're going to roll their die. They're going to get a symbol. It's 1, 2, or 3. And then they're going to add the number of locked die. That's how many spaces they can move. Okay. Now, if a treasure hunter, let's say they've locked all of their dice, or they've locked a whole bunch of their dice, at the start of their turn, a treasure hunter can decide to unlock all of the dice. This gives the mummy an interrupting turn where they're going to move the number of dice locked. So if I started my turn as a treasure hunter, I'm like, this is not enough dice, 2 is not enough for me, I want these 3 back. I say, mummy, go ahead and take your turn. Mummy's going to move 3 spaces, and then if they hit somebody, that person's going to be sent to their tomb. After that, I get a full turn with all 5 dice, and I get to choose one just like before. The last thing I didn't tell you is one of the sides is an arrow. This means that you move in a straight line as far as you can until you hit a wall or something that gets in your way.
So the mummy is trying to collect all the hunters?
Yep, the mummy is trying to collect the hunters based on the information they give them. Like, I've collected this red mask, sure, and now the mummy's going to try to make his way over there. Sure. The treasure hunters are trying to collect their treasures. Okay.
So when can people buy this?
So we've got our early access right now at Origins, sure, but it's full release is Gen Con.
Full release this year. All right, so you're seeing Pyramid of Pengqueen. Look for it at Gen Con. Kevin Dubb with Tantrum House. We're back with Brandon from Brain Games, and we're looking at Pecoco.
That's right. Pecoco is our new trick-taking game with some hidden information where you are the only player who cannot see your own cards.
So this is like Hanabi plus?
Hanabi plus trick-taking, yeah, right, exactly.
So give us a quick overview.
So basically, like I said before, we deal out the cards, and then we place them in our peacocks so that we are the only player who can't see them. Then what we're going to do is, based on the peacocks we can see, all the other players' peacocks, we're going to go peacock by peacock and place bets on how many tricks we think that player is going to take. Okay. So I'm looking over here. 11 is the highest number. I see a bunch of 11s over here. That looks pretty good to me, so I might say I think this person's going to take 3 tricks. Okay. 8 tricks total. Then we would go over, and then everybody else would place how many they think the white player is going to take. Then we'd go over to the yellow peacock. I see, looks worse over there, maybe 2 tricks. And I can't see myself. So once we've all bet on the other players, then we're going to look at how the players bet. Then we're going to bet on ourselves. So let's just pretend white and yellow bet heavily on me. I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, sure. If you think I'm going to win, yeah, I think I'm going to win. Then what we do is we play it out. So the way we play out tricks is you have a target player. And the way that works is it's the player on your left. So I'm, as the purple player, always going to be playing this white peacock's cards. And then it's a normal trick-taking game where the first card can be anything. If you play on suit, the higher number wins. If you play off suit, You're going to lose unless it's the trump color. The trump color is for the whole game. We just reveal one card.
Okay.
In this case, it would be yellow for the whole game, for the whole round, I'm sorry. And that's how it works. At the end, once we've played out all the tricks, all 8 tricks, we look and see how it corresponds to our bets. If you had an exact bet, so if I bet 3 on the white peacock, they took exactly 3, that's plus 2 points. If you have a close bet, that's off by 1 or 2, I believe, it's plus 1 point. And then if you have a bad bet, no points.
Cool.
The last thing there is are these confidence cards, and these are in the each player's colors, and these correspond to the different peacocks. So these are which bet you are most confident about. So if I'm sure that this white player is going to take 3, what I'm going to do is at the beginning of the game, or beginning of the round, I'm going to secretly lock in the bet I'm most confident about, in this case, the white peacock. If I am correct with this bet at the end, I'm going to get plus 3 points. However, if it was an incorrect bet, minus 1 point. And that's the game.
And we got Pecoco coming out at Gen Con as well?
Pecoco coming out at Gen Con, early access here at Origins.
Awesome. Welcome back to Origins Game Fair. I have Brandon again with Brain Games, and we're looking at Orc Olympics.
Yes, this is our new drafting game. Super quick, super simple, just a pick and pass. And then you're going to enter your Orc-lympians, we call them, into a series of 7 events. So this is a pick and pass drafting game where we are dealt 8 cards in the beginning of the game, and we have a series of 7 different events. These events correspond to 3 different attributes. We have cunning, strength, and speed. Each of the Orc-lympians you're going to be drafting has those 3 attributes. So we see the series of events, and then we're going to draft our Orc-lympians based on which events we want to be winning. So it's a standard pick and pass where you start with a hand of 8, you pick 1, you lock that in face down, that's yours for the game, and then you pass the rest over. Once you have your team of 8 cards, you must go down to only 3 different races. So let's say I also had another race in here. These are all the same race. Let's just say I had another race in here. Yeah, here's one. I got it. So if I had the Djinn, the Goblin, the Human, and the Orc, I could only pick 3 of them. The Djinn is rare, as shown by these 3 dots here. The common ones are 1 dot. So I might want to hold on to the Djinn, even though I only have 1 of them. I'd probably get rid of the Goblin, hold on to all these Humans I drafted for some reason, and then my Orcs. So once I have my team, we're going to go one by one in order of the events. So we start at the event worth the fewest points, and then we add in Orc-lympians. So for me here, I've got a 4 strength cunning. I might not want to spend that on this one. I might want to save it for later, but let's just say I add this guy in here. He's got 1 cunning. Because I'm the only one in this event, I take the gold for this. Okay. So this stays here until the very end. Gotcha. Then, going around the table, we each will add in a guy. So let's say the next guy adds in a dwarf here. Dwarf has 2 cunning. So he gets the gold, I get the silver. And we keep going like this.
And then I throw in this guy that has 2.
Then now, tie. So if you tie, you actually get the gold. Okay. You just need a tie to take it. So now silver rotates this way. This guy's out. If he wants to keep playing on his turn, he could add that in there. And now here we go. It rotates. Yep, okay. Just like that. When we all pass, then we look at who has the gold. They get the gold points. Whoever has the silver gets the silver points. Okay. We do that through all of them. At the very end is one of the main events. This is going to be worth the most points. But that's the game. Pick and pass, and then add them in, compare the stats.
And when will this be available?
This is also Gen Con August, early access here at Origins.
Hey guys, we are here at Origins 2018. I'm with Tiffany from Deepwater Games. This is their first live convention, so we're pretty pumped for them, and I know they're pumped. And they've got a great lineup of games in front of us. Go ahead and give us a little rundown on everything we're looking at here.
Just a quick rundown on all 8 titles.
That's right.
Just
no pressure.
Really
just
fast. So I'm going to start at the very end over here with the first game that we did for a Kickstarter. We have Herbalism. This game is for 3 to 4 players, and it's kind of like card counting the game. Basically, you take the entire deck, you shuffle it up, and you deal it out to everybody, but you take 2 cards and you put them out to the side, and nobody knows what they are, and the first person who can figure out what those 2 cards are scores a bunch of points.
Ah, cool.
So there you go. Then we have Crow's Overkill. This is a take that, stab you in the back, kind of screw your neighbor game, and this is for 3 to 4 players, but you can play there's a 2-player variant as well. And the idea on this is that you are a samurai and you are staying the night with your lover, and the birds keep trying to come and wake them up, and you want to get rid of the birds, but you can like move the birds to other people, because if your lover wakes up, they will send you back to war, which you don't want.
Wow. So that went all over the place. Okay, interesting.
It's really brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is our only two-player only game in the line so far. This is Shadows in Kyoto. If you're familiar with Hanamakoji and the universe of Hanamakoji, it's a street in Kyoto where there are geishas, and this is about one player plays government spies and the other player plays basically kind of mafia spies, and you are trying to achieve your objective by getting your agents across the board. But you can see which of your agents are the ones with good information, and you have decoy agents, but your opponent can't see which is which, and you're moving them across the board. So there's some deception and a really interesting tactics card play. So yeah, it's a really interesting two-player game. Like that one a lot. Hidden movement.
Very cool.
Then we have Hanzi.
Yeah.
Oh, Hanzi. So this game, we kickstarted this last year earlier, but it hasn't been available until now because of reasons.
Come and get it.
Yeah, but this is a memory game where you learn the characters that Mandarin is written in. So, yeah, if you're ever interested in learning the characters for Chinese, Hanzi.
Pretty cool.
Then we have the new Haunted.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
These are available now at Origins, new releases. So first off, we have Mystery of the Temples. This is a rondel action selection worker movement game. You only have one worker and you're traveling through the wilderness gathering basically crystal powers that you can go to temples and unlock the temples to gain rune powers, which is a little bit of a set collection game. But the really interesting thing is as you collect the power gemstones, you put them into your crystal lattice, and to access and unlock the temples, you have to pull them out of the lattice in the correct order. Which means they have to have been put in the lattice in the correct order.
Very cool.
So it's a little tricky, but it's an interesting worker placement where no one can go where one player is, kind of standard, but you're always going around in a circle, so there's a bit more planning. It's very, very pretty, and it's a small box, but it has a really beautiful table presence. Then we have Sorcerer and Stones, which I believe we've had Ian talk to you guys about before.
Yeah, I think we got some inside info on that earlier.
Yeah, so this is a 2 to 4 player game, and it's set collection as well, or like resource collection, where you're traveling around collecting different colored stones to use to create relics and items and things like that for various points. This is a game where if you have friends who are prone to maybe some AP,
oh yeah,
maybe if you enjoy that, if you don't enjoy that, so there's that. And then we have Roundhouse. This is the heaviest game in the Emperor S4 Deepwater Games line, like physically and
literally and
figuratively, gamely, yeah. And this is a worker placement. It also has a rondel where you actually have 2 workers that are moving around this house because in a specific village in Taiwan, they would build these massive houses that were basically like the entire village would live in this one house.
Whoa.
And there were different rooms, and you would do trade in the house, and people would sleep in the houses, and it was like a communal family, multi-family house. And so the idea is you're moving your heads of the house around to collect resources, to complete trade agreements, and then you have assistants that you're using to build influence in villages, and there's a lot of different ways that you can get points in this game. This is a heavy Euro game. Lots of planning, very, very little randomness, just kind of in like the contracts that come out and are available.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a pretty cool table presence too. Like I love the layout of all that.
Oh,
It's really cool.
All of these games, Emperor S4 really prides themselves on having very intricate, detailed, beautiful art, and they want a good table presence, and so do we. So it works well.
Cool. And I think we're going to take an in-depth look at Welcome. Is that correct?
Yes.
So make sure you stay tuned and hang around for that one because we're going to give you all the insides and outsides of Welcome. All right, so we're here at Origins with Tiffany from Deepwater Games, and we're getting a close-up look at Welcome to Your Perfect Home. I've heard lots of good things about this. People are excited. Give us a playthrough. How does this look? What does it look like? Give us the rules.
Okay, the whole rules?
Well, the quick version.
Okay, so the idea is that everyone in this game is the architect of a 1950s suburban housing development. which is the game theme you never knew you wanted, honestly. So the idea is it's a roll and write game, or there's no actual dice. So some people are calling them a flip and fill, where you flip the cards and then you fill in the.
I like that. I like it.
Some people were doing like reveal and write. I don't know. You know, it's up to you.
So many options.
Yeah. But the idea is that there are 3 stacks or 3 piles of cards, and they have house numbers on them. And every round, it's a simultaneous action selection game. So everybody's going to have their own score sheet, and the game can play up to 100 players, 1 to 100. It takes about 30, 40 minutes to play for your like first game. And the reason it's limited to 100 is because it's how many pieces of paper are in the box. So if you want to play 200 people, you just got to buy 2 copies. It's fine.
What is the largest player count you've ever done it at?
I've only, so I did, does it count if I was doing it live on the internet with
I think so.
streaming? Yeah, I think we had 60 people playing.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah. But the idea is that basically as long as people can see the cards and they have their own piece of paper and a pen, they can play this game with you. So there's no turns. Everybody picks what they want to do at the same time. So what will happen is there's 3 available options. You pick one house number that you want, and you write it on one of your houses on one of your 3 streets. So for each street, the numbers need to be sequential. So they need to go from lowest to highest for each street independently. But they don't need to be consecutive. So you don't need to have like 1, 2, 3. You can skip it. So you can have like a 1 here, and then a 3 here, so on.
Right, as long
you
as
can
they're
even
ascending.
Yeah, and you can even, when you fill in the numbers, you can write them anywhere. So the first round I could be like, I'm going to put a 3 here, and then the next round I could do, you know, a 7 here. It doesn't matter which house, but every house can only have 1 number, and you can't write a house number if it would be larger than a number to this side of it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally understandable.
But the really interesting in the game is the bonus actions. So every housing number is associated with a bonus action. And these are what actually ends up being the discard pile. And you can preview and see what's coming for the next round in the corners. So if we flip, there's a construction action that goes with this new number. So you can always kind of plan a little bit on the bonus actions. You just don't know what house number is going to be associated with that bonus action, which is one of the things that I really like in this game is you can't plan, there's strategy and tactics.
Cool.
But each of these bonus actions will do something to help you get points. So for example, pools, some of the houses have pools in the backyards. And if you pick a house number that has a pool associated with it, you can decide to build a pool. So you would pick a house that has the pool in the backyard. You would write the number associated with the pool card. So I'd put the 3 here. And then I would circle this pool to say, yes, I built it. Then, because I built a pool, I would cross off the lowest number in my pool thing. At the end of the game, I'll get more points for pools. So every pool that you build, you get more and more points. If you get a lot of pools, you get a lot of points. That's usually how I win. All pools.
And she wins. Excellent. That's
I don't
very
win
cool.
every time with the pool strategy. But
So each bonus has its own way of scoring.
exactly, and
then
each
you-
one's unique.
Then you play until the deck is gone, or what's the trigger for the end game?
There's actually 3 different in-game conditions.
Okay.
So there are objectives. So in addition to getting points for having parks, pools, hiring temporary construction workers, because remember, you are building this housing development, so you want to hire construction workers. You want to, bring jobs to the area and community. So you get, this is a majority, so at the end of the game, whoever hired the most construction workers gets more points. It's pretty
Okay.
nice. Then there's like building subdivisions and like little private estates, and you can make those subdivisions like fancier and more ornate, so you get more points for them. And in addition, you can get bonuses from the city planning office. So these are basically objectives that the city has said they want these things in people's subdivisions and
Gotcha.
neighborhoods. And if you achieve all of these cards, that's one of the in-game triggers, is somebody achieves all 3.
Cool.
But
okay.
multiple people can do them. So whoever, let me start over. But multiple people can do them. Whoever achieves one first will get the larger number, and then you flip it, so whoever achieves it later will just still get the lower
okay.
point value.
Yep.
But as soon as one player achieves all 3 objectives, game is over. In addition, if it ever happens where you can't write one of the house numbers because you just legally can't put it on your street, you get a permanent... if you can't ever write a house number because you just don't have the correct sequence of numbers available and none of these will work for you,
Right.
you actually get a permit refusal. And if you get 3 of those, if one player gets 3 permit refusals game's over for everybody.
Okay.
So that's another way. And then the last way that the game will end is if one player fills all of their houses in.
Wow.
Which I've never actually had a game in that way.
That'd be intense.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that everybody... There is a way where you can be putting more than one house down every round.
Okay.
But you'll get negative points for doing it. But it might help you fill out things faster to beat people to objectives or things like that. Or you can force the game to end. So there's some options in that. But that's the third way that you can end the game.
Very cool. So tell us when we can get a hold of this.
So we are doing a pre-release here at Origins with very, very limited copies. But we do have some copies available for pre-order for Gen Con, which is when the game is coming out officially.
Very cool.
So if you'd like to pre-order this game, you can go to welcometogame.com and pre-order for Gen Con pickup or for shipping. And otherwise, it'll be available in your friendly local game store in late August, September.
All right, cool. You heard the lady. Get your hands on a copy right now, and we will have more good stuff coming to you guys very soon.